Honolulu is straight out of a movie, but it goes far beyond the classic postcards. Yes, you'll find white sandy beaches, coconut palms in the wind, and that aloha that everyone imagines. But Hawaii's capital is much more than flower necklaces and traditional dances. It's a city full of contrasts, skyscrapers rising in the middle of dormant volcanoes, indigenous traditions living in harmony with Asian, North American, and European influences. And believe me, this piece of paradise is full of surprising stories. It has been the scene of political conspiracies that overthrew a monarchy, military attacks that changed the course of the world, and almost had the hula, its most famous dance, banned forever. Want to know why Honolulu is so special and full of twists and turns? Then stay with us until the end, because today Bello Mundo is going to take you to see this paradise from a new perspective. Number 1. Location and general information. To begin our trip, let's first understand something important. When we talk about Hawaii, we're not talking about a single isolated island, but an entire archipelago. That's right. Hawaii is made up of more than 100 islands spread across the Pacific, 8 of which are the best known and most visited, such as Maui, Kauai, the famous Big Island, and, of course, Oahu. And it is exactly Oahu that interests us now, because it is on this island that Honolulu, the capital and also the largest Hawaiian city, is located. Oahu is the 3rd largest island in the archipelago and by far the busiest and most urbanized, concentrating most of the state's population. It is also the most common gateway for first-time visitors to Hawaii and is famous mainly for being home to the historic Pearl Harbor Naval Base, something we'll talk about later. However, contrary to what you might imagine, Honolulu isn't just a small beach town with coconut palms, surfing, and tranquility. It goes far beyond that. To give you an idea, it is one of the largest capital cities on the planet in terms of land area, covering practically the entire island of Oahu and even some smaller islets. Of course, in practice, when we talk about the really urban and bustling part, we're talking about the southern part of the island. This is where the high-rise buildings, giant shopping malls, always full restaurants, and the famous busy harbor are located. There are even heavy traffic jams during rush hour. Who would have thought that an island paradise would have traffic jams? Now that you've been introduced to the geography of the place, let's get to know the history. Number 2. History. Have you ever wondered why the Hawaiian capital is called Honolulu? Well, the name has everything to do with its location. In Hawaiian, Honolulu means something like protected bay or sheltered harbor, which makes perfect sense since the city grew up around a very protected natural harbor. In the beginning, this place was just a small, quiet village where the locals made a living from fishing and took advantage of the calm waters to protect their boats from the strong waves of the Pacific. But that began to change a lot in the 19th century when foreign traders and whalers discovered that this port was a perfect spot to rest and refuel on their ocean routes. Before long, the quiet village became a bustling multicultural meeting place with people arriving from all over the world. And that's not all. Honolulu was once the capital of an independent kingdom. That's right, no United States until the end of the 19th century. The kings and queens of Hawaii were in charge there, with the right to palaces, official ceremonies, and everything you imagine when you think of a traditional monarchy. It wasn't until 1959 that it officially became the 50th American state. Another curious fact is that during this period of political transformation, Honolulu received a large number of immigrants from Japan, China, the Philippines, Portugal, and several other countries. This ended up creating a unique identity for the city, where you can find Asian, European, and local influences coexisting in surprising harmony. So today, when you visit Honolulu, you can clearly see this cultural melting pot. From the dishes you taste in the restaurants to the stores and markets scattered around the city, everything is the result of this historical mix that began way back when Honolulu was still just a simple protected bay in the middle of the Pacific. Number 3. Meaning of Aloha and the Hawaiian vibe. Surely you've heard that magic word, Aloha, but do you really know what it means? Some people think it's just a nice way of saying hello or goodbye, but the meaning is much deeper. Aloha is a Hawaiian word that represents the essence of hospitality, kindness, respect, and above all, love and unity between people. In Hawaii, especially in Honolulu, Aloha is almost a way of life, a true philosophy that governs the behavior of the locals. No wonder the city is known for being extremely welcoming, and you notice it as soon as you land there. The first thing you get when you arrive is a lei, that famous flower necklace. Number 4. Tourism. Now comes the part that everyone who loves to travel has been waiting for: tourism. After all, if you're in Honolulu, it's impossible not to talk about the spectacular landscapes and paradisiacal beaches of this region, starting with Waikiki, perhaps the most famous neighborhood in Hawaii. If you like that perfect beach with white sand and clear blue sea, Waikiki is exactly that. There you'll find skyscrapers mixed with palm trees, sophisticated stores next to the traditional shave ice stands, and lots of people learning to surf. It's a picture postcard setting, really. But Honolulu isn't just Waikiki. For those who like a bit of adventure, one of the most incredible attractions is Diamond Head, an ancient dormant volcano that dominates the city skyline. Climbing up there is a bit of work. Be prepared to face stairs and slopes, but when you finally reach the top, you realize that it was worth every step. The panoramic view is impressive, showing the whole city and the blue expanse of the Pacific. And if you're looking for a quieter, more natural setting, Hanauma Bay is a must-see. This protected marine reserve is a dream for those who like to snorkel and admire colorful fish swimming around. It's like something out of a National Geographic documentary, you know? But it's not all sea and beach. Those who enjoy hiking can take advantage of incredible routes through the rainforest, past hidden waterfalls and impressive cliffs. Some trails are quite easy, but others are more challenging, such as the famous Coco Crater Stairs, with over 1,000 steps that test the breath and stamina of adventurers. Number 5. Spam. So, are you ready for a curiosity that you probably didn't think you'd find in a tropical paradise? Well, Honolulu and Hawaii in general has a peculiar love for something that many tourists find quite strange at first glance: SPAM. But don't worry, it's not that annoying spam that fills your email with repeated advertisements, although it has everything to do with it, as you'll soon understand. The spam that is so popular there is actually canned pork, which many tourists find strange at first sight. This canned meat became staple food for American troops in the Pacific during the Second World War, thanks to its ease of storage. The curious thing is that the Hawaiians liked the product so much that it remained part of the local culture. Today, Hawaii, especially Honolulu, is the largest consumer of spam in the world. You can find versions for all tastes, from breakfast at McDonald's to the famous spam musubi, a kind of sushi with rice, canned meat, and seaweed. There's even a festival dedicated exclusively to spam. And what does this have to do with those annoying emails in your inbox? Everything. The term spam, in the digital sense, was born from a comedy skit by the British group Monty Python, which satirized the exaggerated use of canned meat, symbolizing something insistent and unwanted. The joke caught on, and today we call any repetitive and unwelcome message spam. But obviously, not everyone eats spam. Number 6. Gastronomy. If you're curious about cuisine, Honolulu will surprise you. Want to see? Poke, a classic dish based on diced raw fish, usually tuna, seasoned with soy sauce, seaweed, and spring onions, has become a worldwide hit. Another local delicacy is the moco loco, made of rice, hamburger, fried egg, and lots of gravy. That dark sauce made with beef broth and spices, super common in the United States. The combination sounds crazy, but it's delicious. There's also the classic kalua pig, a slow-smoked pork that's so tender it falls apart in your mouth. And if you prefer sweets, then take note. In Honolulu, you can't resist shave ice, which is like a shaved ice made with thin ice and topped with tropical fruit syrup, perfect for the Hawaiian heat. In short, Honolulu's cuisine is an explosion of flavors and spices. You can go without fear because the experience is worth every bite. Number 7. Honolulu's melting pot. Speaking of spice, perhaps Honolulu's most special secret spice is precisely its cultural diversity. With more than 340,000 inhabitants, the city is an incredible mix of ethnicities from all over the world. In addition to the native Hawaiians, called Kanaka Maoli, the city has strong communities of Japanese, Filipino, Chinese, Korean, Portuguese, and other Pacific Islander origin. This mix began in the 19th century, when farmers brought in workers from different countries to take care of the sugarcane and pineapple plantations. In practice, this means that you can wander the streets and find a bit of everything. Chinese New Year celebrations, Buddhist temples next to Portuguese and Filipino Catholic churches, and even bakeries selling the famous Hawaiian sweetbread, which, curiously, is a Portuguese heritage. A perfect example of this mix is Honolulu's Chinatown, one of the oldest in the United States. The district originated in the 19th century and is still famous for its colorful markets, typical restaurants, and lively festivals. There you'll find historic temples, incredible Chinese dishes, and a vibrant atmosphere that mixes tradition and modernity. In short, Honolulu is exactly that famous American melting pot, a true cultural melting pot with an extra dash of Polynesian spirit. And that makes it even more tropical, unique, and special, as we'll discover in a moment. Number 8. Hawaiian language and pigeon dialect. Perhaps nothing represents this cultural mix as much as language. In Hawaii, in addition to English, the Hawaiian language is also official. Although few people are fluent, you'll see Hawaiian words on street signs, the names of public buildings, and in everyday life in the capital. The language has only 12 letters, 5 vowels, and 7 consonants. That's why so many Hawaiian words sound very long and full of vowels. Each syllable tends to be open. In Honolulu, you'll find examples everywhere: Kapiolani, like highway, and Poai, and so on. And as if that weren't enough, there's also the amusing dialect called Hawaiian pigeon, which arose from the mixture of languages of the immigrants from the sugarcane plantations. It's English, full of slang, with a strong accent and very local expressions. It may sound strange to tourists, but this way of speaking is part of the Hawaiian cultural identity. Number 9. Hula, the dance that tells stories. Another thing you can't ignore when it comes to Hawaiian culture is the famous hula dance, with its graceful hip and arm movements, almost always to the relaxing sound of ukuleles and drums. Anyone visiting Honolulu is sure to bump into a hula performance at a luau or cultural event. But what many people don't know is that the hula isn't just a pretty dance for tourists to take pictures of. In fact, it's an ancient form of storytelling. Each movement of the hands and hips has a special meaning, telling legends about gods, historical facts, or important events for the Hawaiian people. For centuries, this was one of the main ways that Hawaiians preserved their traditions. However, in the 19th century, Christian missionaries who arrived on the islands decided that the hula was something pagan and inappropriate. Under their pressure, the dance was banned several times. Many families even practiced hula in hiding, as a secret that was passed down from generation to generation. Who saved the hula from disappearing was King Kalakaua, a lively monarch with a passion for local culture. During his reign, he made a point of bringing the hula back to official events, ensuring that the tradition survived. Number 10. The only royal palace in the United States. Remember at the beginning of the video we told you that before it was part of the United States, it was kings and queens who ruled the place? Well then, if there's a king, there must be a castle, right? It may sound like a joke, but it's not. Honolulu really does have the only royal palace on American soil, the beautiful Iolani Palace. Built in the 19th century, the castle was the official home of the Hawaiian monarchy. And look how curious it is. King Kalakaua, who we've just spoken about and who saved the hula, was in love with modernity and had electricity installed in the palace even before many European capitals. Who would have thought that in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, people were way ahead? To visit the Iolani Palace today is to understand a little of this forgotten history. Here, there was a legitimate monarchy with real kings and queens, which was overthrown in a political coup by the United States. Curious, isn't it? Who would have thought to find such a story in the middle of a tropical paradise? Number 11. Pearl Harbor, an attack that changed the world. Apart from the royal palace, do you know what else is unique about the Hawaiian capital? Pearl Harbor. Probably Honolulu's greatest historical reference in the world context is the attack that took place on December 7th, 1941. Pearl Harbor is just a few kilometers from the city center and was the scene of the Japanese attack that ended up taking the United States officially into World War II, forever changing the course of the 20th century. The destruction was enormous. The USS Arizona, for example, sank with more than 1,000 crew members still inside. To this day, the ship remains submerged in exactly the same spot. A memorial has been built on the hull of the ship, allowing visitors to learn about this historic episode and pay homage to the victims. And believe me, to walk through the memorial is to understand how much that day marked not only Honolulu's history, but the history of the world. Number 12. World's largest open-air shopping center. Still talking about unique places, we obviously can't forget to mention the Ala Moana Center, the world's largest open-air shopping mall. This colossus stretches over more than 223,000 square meters and offers visitors a glorious mix of luxury retailers, local stores, and delicious dining options, all in the open air. It is also an important cultural meeting point, with live shows, Hawaiian dance performances, and community events that make it a special place to get to know the local culture. Number 13. Honolulu's illustrious characters. To end our list, Now that we've covered so many cool things about Honolulu, let's close by getting to know some famous talents who were born in this paradise. Did you know that Barack Obama, former president of the United States, was born in Honolulu? He spent a good part of his childhood and adolescence there before making his way into the world of politics. Another big name is singer Bruno Mars, whose real name is Peter Jean Hernandez. Born in Honolulu to a rich cultural mix, a Filipino mother and a father of Puerto Rican and Jewish descent, he grew up singing and dancing in the city's streets before conquering the world with his hits. And it's not just them. Did you know that actress Nicole Kidman was also born in Honolulu? Yes, although she is known worldwide as an Australian, she was born on this island paradise. There, she was given the Hawaiian name Hokulani, which literally means heavenly star. And last but not least, we have our Aquaman, Jason Momoa. In other words, in addition to its paradisiacal beaches and spectacular scenery, Honolulu still has that special gift of revealing great names to the world. After all, anyone who is born in a place so full of aloha already arrives with an extra glow, don't you think? See how Honolulu goes far beyond the Instagrammable beaches and aloha we see in movies? There's royalty, there's a historical attack, there's a dance that was almost banned, there's an ethnic melting pot, and there's even a passion for corned beef. So, which of these facts surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. If you liked this content, you already know. Leave a like, subscribe here on Bello Mundo, and activate the bell so you don't miss the next videos. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you on our next adventure.